Oh no, Martin's. Thank you, Martin. Lines of communication are very important, and it's a two-way thing. And there's lots of people who are sending out messages to group organisers, to the membership, and we're getting very little feedback from quite a large number of people. I've had people who've asked to have their emails shut off because they don't want to keep getting emails, but you can always just delete them. You don't have to read them if you feel that way about it, but to shut yourself off, I think, is not a good thing in this day and age. Right, I'll take it that you have read the annual report, so we'll go on to the Treasurer's report, item 4.
Okay. Good morning, everyone. I've circulated the annual report and accounts and the notes to the accounts, and these set out in detail the main summary transactions for the year. So I'll just highlight a few items. We had a net deficit for the year of 2,182, but this was reduced by a one-off credit of £1,364 because the trust and our independent examiner wished us to include the balances of groups who've had, for historical reasons, their own bank accounts. So we recorded a net deficit of £818. Just a few key features out of what happened during the year. From my point of view, one of the main things was that we halved the membership fees, so we only got half our membership fee income. This was partly offset by us not producing Sage, which costs us about £5,000 in a full year, and also there were very, very few central costs. There was only a very small deficit on the interest groups because in May, when we publicised that we were going to keep the fees at the same level, we did anticipate more groups starting during the summer. This didn't happen for very, very good reasons. So the increased costs, which are shown by the interest groups operating now with higher room charges because groups are having larger rooms and obviously a much smaller attendance, means that the committee are going to leave the fees as they are until the end of this calendar year. And then going forward from next year, we'll just have to review the position to do some levelling up with the groups, because as we're getting those subsidies from the larger interest groups, which produce a very, very high surplus used to fund these smaller interest groups, for fairness, if nothing else, we're going to have to consider some levelling up and looking at costs. Fortunately, we've got money in the bank. We've got very good reserves that we've built up over the years. So we're prepared to use these reserves to help this process. But unfortunately, it does need to happen. No decisions have been taken. All it is that the committee are going to review the position over the next 2 committee meetings, and then we'll let you know. But it's not going to be dramatic because we have funds in the bank. And also the URC room cost will no doubt increase from the 1st of January. So that's another increase that we're going to have to bear. That's all I wanted to say about the results, because they're spelled out in the accounts, and you've got the notes to the accounts which describe most of the big items. So I'll take any questions, or if not now, you contact me or any of the committee later on, and I'll do my best to answer them. No questions? That's fine.
No questions from the floor. Excuse me, could you come to the...
Mike Jameson, just one question. The gift aid figures, I didn't understand why they increased by £400 when the income had dropped by 1.5.
No, that's a good point. The gift aid is claimed a year in arrears. So we've got the gift aid on last year's quite high numbers of about 1,600 odd. Next year we're going to take a big hit because the numbers have gone down to about 1,200 people. and it'll be based on the £5 paid rather than the £10. So next year it'll be quite a low figure. Okay. That was just an accounting nicety.
Okay, you finished?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Right, election of independent examiner of accounts. Are you dealing with that?
Okay, yeah. Well, I do admire a volunteer, and I'm pleased to report that Chris Mitten is delighted to continue to serve for another year and examine our accounts for next year's accounts. So I'm proposing Chris Mitten to carry forward as independent examiner. Thank you, Chris.
So are we all in favour of Chris being auditor? Chris is here somewhere.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Thank you very much. Right. We're moving on to election of committee members. I've got a list here of the current committee or the retiring committee, and they've all been nominated and seconded by members other than those on the committee. There's a list I've got here. I'll show you. I don't propose to go through all of these. I propose that they're accepted by you on block. Most of the people on the committee are here in present this morning. So is that acceptable to you all in the sanctuary here, that we do it on block instead of individually? Could I have a show of hands for that, please? All right, thank you very much. So we're on to any other business. So that's open to the people on the floor here, I think. Anybody who's got anything to raise with us, committee? Hold us to account in whatever way you want. Yes, Chris, you'll have to come to the front. That's so the people at home can hear you and see you.
You hear me all right? Bit nearer. Yeah, I can hear myself now. Right. What I'd like to say is, perhaps preempting the end of the meeting, is a great thank you to the committee over the last 12, 18 months in coping with a very difficult situation. I've been on the committee, I run one of the groups, and I know how difficult it is. And I think the support that we've had from the committee members and everybody helping to keep the groups going over the last 18 months or so has been tremendous. And it's the community spirit that's within this U3A that takes this U3A forward into a great time to support its local neighbourhood. And what I'd also like to say, because I use one of the rooms here in the URC, is a great thanks to all the church members, in particular Colin Toy, for everything that they have done to support us during this time, previous years and ongoing as our meetings start again, and hopefully we return to a more normal way of life. So thank you very much. And for all my craft group members and for everybody else in this U3A. Tremendous job. Thanks. Well done.
Thank you very much, Chris. Anybody else? Right, Marion?
Well, first of all, I would also like to say thank you to the members of the committee. But the question I have is, what will the support be like next year if the membership doesn't return to normal in the first few months? Because at the organisers' meeting, it was said that during this financial year, support would be given. But the actual conclusion in here is that you'll continue till the end of the year. Do you mean the end of the financial year?
Calendar year.
So in 2022?
No, calendar year, this year.
Oh, so what happens then in January, February and March if people don't come back?
Okay, well, as I said that, we're going to meet in November and December, and we're going to review the situation. The supporters continued with attendance fees at the same level as they have done before for the last 2 years, and then we'll have to take a view. No decisions have been taken.
Okay.
So I can't tell you what's going to happen, but
Right.
it'll happen.
I understand there will need to be an increase, but if it was to be a realistic increase, it could be 400% on some groups.
No, it's not going to be dramatic. I also said that as well.
All right, thank you.
It's not going to be dramatic, and we will review the situation, but it certainly won't be dramatic.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Another point I'd just stress there is that historically, although the ethos of the trust is to have each group paying its own way, i.e. being self-financing, because we've been fortunate with the reserves built up, I must say mainly by English history, which gives us a very good surplus. We've always used that money to cross-subsidise it's mainly the small interest groups, particularly the language groups, for instance, who most of them meet every week or several times a month, and their deficits are quite significant. We have to consider those regarding fairness across the other members in the groups, and people wanting larger rooms and the frequency of the meetings. There just has to be a little bit of balancing, because we can't continue with relying on the support of the larger interest groups. So we're just going to review the situation and see what's fair, but it certainly won't be dramatic. It'll be incremental over maybe a year, maybe 2 years, I don't know, but it won't be dramatic.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Any more questions from the floor? Okay, we'll move on. And that's it. Anne tells me. Well, I'd like to thank Anne, who's on my left here, which most people at home won't be able to see. Anne is as well as being the room bookings coordinator, a magnificent job she's doing of that over, what, 3 or 4 years now, Anne? She's also recorder of the meetings, the what do you call it? The minute secretary. So I'd like to thank Anne personally for all the hard work she's done during the time she has served on our committee. And I'd also like to thank the committee as a whole. And I'll also thank, at the same time, all the marvellous group organisers who I had a chance to meet during this past month at the 2 meetings that were held in URC. Thank you very much for all the hard work you're doing. I'll now close the meeting. Thank you very much for attending. And for those at home, thank you very much as well. Give me a wave.
Mike.
Hello.
Martin, can I apologise? People tried to use the link to join the meeting this morning. That didn't work. You had to enter the numbers manually. Put it down to my incompetence. My apologies.
Didn't hear a word of that, Martin.
Thank you very much.
It's very muffled.
Okay, I'll tell you privately. I could have been slicker on the Zoom, but never mind.
Still no clearer. Anyway, we'll leave it there. Well, thank you very much, people, for attending in person here today. Thank you.